The typical entrepreneur begins to slow down the week before any one of the 5 major holidays. The average entrepreneur has 15 missing weeks a year. And if you could just win those 15 weeks, you're going to crush the entire year. So Jimmy, what campaign should we start with?
Well, there's a stat I saw this morning that just blew me away. The FHFA talked about this idea that 1.3 million sellers sat on the sidelines between 2022 and 2023. It's probably around 2.5 million people who've wanted to sell for the last 2 years who just haven't sold because they've been stuck with a 3% interest rate. And so we have this incredible opportunity right now to re-engage all of the people who are currently sitting on the sidelines who want to sell, who are currently locked in. So the script I would use, Tom, for these folks, the first strategy for the 3 strategies we'll share with you today is
the fourth quarter is your favorite time of the year for a lot of reasons. Yes, it's the holidays. Maybe it's football season for you. But for me, this is the time of the year when the vast majority of people simply slow down, stop working, stop marketing, and basically ensure a horrible first quarter. But you and I, we know differently. We know that the harder we work in the fourth quarter with family time, with fun time, with holidays, maybe a little football, all the things you love, if you prioritize revenue and taking care of your clients, the fourth quarter will be bananas for you. And more importantly, you're going to set the tone for how 2025 is going to be. What are the most important campaigns you should be doing right now with your database and perhaps around your database, other lead sources, to put yourself in the best possible position to win? The typical entrepreneur begins to slow down the week before any one of the 5 major holidays. They certainly slow down a lot during that holiday week. And in many cases, they struggle to kind of get things going again the 3rd week out. So he said, essentially, the average entrepreneur has 15 missing weeks a year. And if you could just win those 15 weeks, you're going to crush the entire year. So the timing is right. Yeah. I think the mindset right for the person listening. They're like, yes, let's get it on. So Jimmy, what campaign should we start with? We're going to get everybody to connect with their database, generate some opportunities. Yeah. Some of it's going to be email, some of it's going to be text, some of it's going to be direct mail. Talk to us.
Well, there's a stat I saw this morning that just blew me away. The FHFA, which is the Fair Housing Financial Agency, talked about this idea that 1.3 million sellers sat on the sidelines between 2022 and 2023. Now, the data doesn't go up to 2024, so it'd be probably not a big stretch, Tom, to say it's probably around 2.5 million people who want to sell who've wanted to sell for the last 2 years who just haven't sold because they've been stuck with a 3% interest rate. And so David Childers, our buddy David Childers over Keeping Current Matters, said to me, he goes, Jimmy, when interest rates get into the 5s, 35% of would-be sellers enter back into the market. And so we have this incredible opportunity right now at this moment to re-engage all of the people who are currently sitting on the sidelines who want to sell, who are currently locked in. And so the script I would use, Tom, for these folks, the first strategy for the 3 strategies we'll share with you today is, hey, Tom, I'm catching up with a lot of my clients right now. We're seeing a pretty big uptick in activity since the Fed cut rates. How has the recent change in mortgage rates impacted your real estate plans this year? And so what I'm doing with that line is I'm diffusing the fact that I'm not trying to sell them. I'm just checking back in with you. This is part of my normal service operating agreement for you as a client. What's the reason why I'm catching up? The reason why I'm catching up is because we're seeing this increase in activity. And I say that line specifically, we're seeing a pretty big uptick because we had this herd mentality as human beings that we tend to follow the masses. And so if people are now entering back into the market, we then internally, even subconsciously, ask ourselves the question, well, should we think about entering back into the market? And then the question I ask is an easy to answer, open-ended question designed not for a yes or a no, Tom. Rather, it's designed for them to share with me some insight in terms of what they're actually planning. Because they may not be looking to make a move, Tom, let's say in the next 60 days. But wouldn't you like to know if they're thinking about making a move in the first 60 days of 2025?
Yes.
And so when we bring all that together, I'll give you the script from the jump here, Tom. Hey, Tom, I've been catching up with a lot of my clients. We're seeing a pretty big uptick since the Fed cut the rates. How has the recent change in mortgage rates impacted your real estate plans this year? This is an important footnote for everyone who's listening. Your SOI is not just the people in your CRM database. Tom, you can talk about this a bit more than I can, but like when you think about ways in which you can distribute this script beyond the people who are in your database, who might else you also be going after?
I would take every old lead that shut me down and didn't decided not to buy a house because rates went to 6 and then 7 and then 8 and then back down to 7, and they've been waiting. And most of you could go right into your CRM and just take, I don't know, the second half of 2022 to like 45 days ago and just say every new lead that was generated at that time period, I would be sending those texts to them as well. What's number 2?
Number 2, Mr. Beast leaked, or there was a leaked memo of Mr. Beast's internal communication to his team recently, Tom. And for everyone who's watching this, maybe Hector can drop in the show notes afterwards. It's probably one of the more interesting kind of looks at one of the most interesting founders in the content creation space. And in that 36-page memo, he had a line that I wrote down because I thought it was so incredibly smart. He said, "Creativity saves money. Finding creative solutions is often better than throwing money at problems." And I think right now we're in a position, a lot of agents are in a position right now where we want to be focused on, as you say, prioritizing revenue, but we also want to be cost conscious and do it in an economic way. And so one of the ways you can do that is this concept that you hear Tom and I talk about all the time, which is every buyer can become a listing and every listing can become another listing. And so what I think about is the tactics, Tom, that are really centered around your activity in the local market. And so this is the appointment strategy, which is to say that every time you are either showing a house, going on a listing appointment, meeting your photographer, videographer, hosting an open house, or maybe even just helping a client prepare for closing, every time you're in the area, you should let everybody else who is in and around that home know that you're in the area. And so we've had countless members of the community execute these, what we refer to as kind of appointment sales campaigns. And the basic idea is it's incredibly simple. As if I'm going to reach out to people in the area, I'm going to say, hey, Tom, my name's Jim Mackin. I'm going to be in your neighborhood because one of your neighbors hired me to sell their house. I'm not sure if this is for you, but if you'd like me to get you an updated home value report on what your home is going to be worth once we sell this home, I'm happy to swing by and give you an update. And that's the general broad brushstroke scripts there. But the idea there, Tom, is if you map out, this is what I would do if I was a real estate agent right now looking to accelerate. I would say, okay, let me just map out all the places I'm going to be next week or for the next 2 weeks. Appointments, meetings, open houses, listing appointment, etc. And I'd say, I'm going to have either myself or my team is going to call around in advance, or I'm going to drop letters in advance to every appointment I'm going on in hopes of booking another appointment for that same day. Because can you imagine, Tom, if I'm like, hey, I've got a listing appointment. I'm driving 45 minutes to this listing appointment, right? Tuesday at like 11 a.m. And then I just booked another one for 12 or 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Doesn't that make everything a lot more efficient in your business? Doesn't that allow you to kind of squeeze more revenue in less time? So that would be the tactic I would be thinking about, Tom, is how do you take every listing appointment and turn it into more listings? What's the one thing that every listing agent does in preparation for a listing appointment? They prepare a CMA.
Yes.
And so here's what I would do is when you prepare a CMA, you're going to understand very quickly how much equity that individual has gained since they purchased the property. So we have this campaign, which is called the Equity Update Letter. And so what you could do, and this one crushes,
Yes.
It's, hey neighbor, I recently completed a home value equity update for your neighbors. It turns out they've gained $123,000 in the last, 24 months. You live in a highly desirable neighborhood, which might be the reason why your neighbor called me to potentially sell their home. To find out how much your home value has increased in the last 12 months, text me at blank and I'll prepare a free professional report for you today. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So what I would do there, Tom, and we'll have a visual to share with everyone as well here, but what I'll do with you here, the reason I'm doing that is I'm creating this kind of curiosity gap in the mind of the consumer, which is I'm trying to get them to say, yeah, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Great. That's interesting. That's unique. It's timely. It's personalized. But is there a way I can turn the volume up on it? Is there a way where I can get them to go, I wonder how much equity I've gained.
Right.
And let me give you some stats on this, Tom, because this is mind blowing. We were texting with our buddy Ryan Young over at Fellow recently, and he says, Jimmy, here, this is important for everyone to write down. He said, we track 3 different types of lead conversion behaviors: home value leads, cash offer leads, and seller leads. So a seller lead is a come list me lead, right? A cash offer lead is going to be, we want to get a cash offer for our home. And a home value lead, hey, I'm curious what my home is worth. What he has found is that 8.2% of all home value leads will transact in the next 12 months. 21% of all cash offer leads will transact in the next 12 months, and then 31% of all seller leads will transact in the next 12 months. So what I would say here, Tom, which is probably worth exploring, is that you can go with the, hey, if you want to know what your home is worth angle, you can use that angle, or you can use the exact script we just gave you and say, if you're thinking about potentially skipping the market and you're just interested in a fair or a cash offer that's actually the value of your home, contact us here. Or if you're like, hey, we're thinking about selling, you're thinking about selling and you want to get more information about the next steps, give us a call. So you can experiment with different CTAs, and each of those CTAs is going to give you a different type of lead. The home value leads you probably get more of, although have a lower conversion rate. The cash offer, you'll have a higher conversion rate, and the straight, fastball seller lead, you'll have the highest conversion rate on. So just to recap everything I just said there, Tom, if I was a real estate agent and I was trying to market these appointments that I'm going on, I would use that home value script that we just gave you. And I would just simply experiment with different CTAs to see which one got the best response rate.
If you're looking for stuff like this, if this is exciting to you, my buddy Jimmy and I created a new company. It's called listingleads.com. If you have not gone to listingleads.com, absolutely check it out today. We drop new marketing campaigns every single month for all of our subscribers. And the second you sign up, you have like 59 different proven campaigns you can already run with. So absolutely check out listingleads.com.